तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and today we have to start chapter 24, Pandit Shashadhar. That is page 462 of the English book, and in Bengali it is 464. Wednesday, June 25, 1884. It was the day of the Ratha Yatra, the car festival of the Hindus. So many people do not know this at all. So I have to explain it a little. In the eastern parts of India, that is in the state of Odisha, there is a place called Puri. And there the deity is Jagannath, the Lord of the world. It is actually Krishna, but neither is he accompanied by Radha as in Vrindavan, his beloved, or by one of his wedded wives like Rukmini in Pandharpur. He is accompanied by his brother and sister, brother Balaram and sister Subhadra. Those three, the images made of wood, are standing there. And it is one of the holiest of the holy places in India. Now, because he is taken as a person, that is the beauty of Hinduism. Hinduism is the only religion, which proposes the absolute infinite as the real God. And it is Hindu religion, again, which finds stories, anecdotes of all his living embodiments. So because they have made a man of this Jagannath, every year he goes to his auntie's house, his mother's sister's house, and stays there for 9 days. Now, according to the lunar Indian calendar, it is the month of Ashad, and second day of that lunar month of Ashad, Shukla Paksha. And he comes back on the 10th day of that month. So that is called Jagannath Ratha Yatra, because he rides a chariot. And there are several traditions associated with that. I am tempted to describe one or two here. In the modern days, right from ancient days, the king of that place puts his shoulder to the chariot or pulls the chariot from one side, and from the other side, the chief priest. And the tradition says that without the king or the chief priest, the chariot would not move. Now, recently, that means when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, she had a minister, perhaps of home or something, Nandini Satpathy from Korea. Being modern minded, she wanted to disprove this tradition. And those were the days when the princely states, the titular head still were there. So she held a meeting in New Delhi on the same day and compelled the king of that place to attend that meeting. We came to attend the meeting on orders, but the chariot did not move. With all efforts of everybody, the chariot did not move. So the king had to go back by chartered flight and pull the chariot from one side when it moved. As recent as when the Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. The second story is that Jagannath does not discriminate. There is a tradition that anybody of any caste in Hinduism may approach there, but one who is not a Hindu shall not be allowed. Now there was a Muhammad, there was a military chieftain, Kalabek, and he wedded a Hindu widow, and the son was Salabek. Now Salabek, because of the influence of his mother or whatever lords we don't know, was a great devotee of Jagannath from his birth. He was a great poet also. Now Salabek went to Puri, and the priest would not allow him to even approach the vicinity of the temple. So Gurus are weeping, he was sitting outside. And the chariot did not move. And everybody was puzzled because the traditional things were ready. So the king was a sincere person. And he started thinking what has happened. And to him the Lord revealed that my devotee is sleeping outside, you are not allowing me. So the king went there, called Salabek with him, and when Salabek pulled from one side the chariot. So these are the living traditions associated with Ratha Yatra, Jagannath Dev's Ratha Yatra. Now among Sri Ramakrishna's devotees, the Ratha Yatra in Mardram Babu's house is great famous thing. But today, another place we shall go, and that is Ishan Chandra. Ishan Chandra was a quite a wealthy man and equally devoted. And amongst his son, there is a boy named Satish, and he was Swami Vivekananda's classmate and great friend. And Swami Vivekananda knew Ishan well. And he said that Ishan's philanthropy is not less than Ishwar Chandra Gupta. And he was a great devotee of Thakur. Now, in the neighbor of Ishan's house, Pandit Shashadhar Tarka Chudamani was living. He was not a resident of Calcutta. He used to move throughout Bengal, but he was living there. on invitation. And though not mentioned in the Gospel, Thakur came to know about him from Swami Vivekananda. It is said that Swami Vivekananda knew, maybe because of Ishan's neighborhood, the host of Shashadhar. And the Shashadhar had the habit of explaining the ritualistic part of Hinduism from the modern science point of view. And people were charmed. He would explain why this tuft of hair called tiki or choti is there, why we put on the sacred thread on physical science grounds. So Swami Vivekananda wanted Sri Ramakrishna to find out how far his things are correct. And Swami Vivekananda had informed Sri Ramakrishna that he would be there near Ishan's house. This is the background. So, on the Ratha Yatra day, found out the page. Bengali? Bengali, you see from him. So, I explained the background. It was the day of the Ratha Yatra. Day of the Ratha Yatra means first day of Ratha Yatra, the car festival of the Hindus. At Ishan's invitation, Sri Ramakrishna went to his house in Calcutta. For some time, the master had a desire to meet Pandit Shashadhar Tarka Chudamani because Swami Vivekananda's prompting, who had been staying with one of Ishan's neighbors. So it was decided that he would visit the Pandit in the afternoon. Morning he has come to Ishan's house. A few devotees, including Hazra, who always used to accompany Sri Ramakrishna, we have seen that, accompanied the master to Ishan's house. Ishan had invited one or two Brahmin scholars. Now this also I should introduce. In old India, it was the Brahmins only who studied Vedas. In medieval India, and especially they were expert in the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. So it is mentioned here, Brahmin Pandits. Otherwise, there was no need to mention. Brahmins, Pandit means scholars of scriptures or ritualistic scriptures. Ishan had invited one or two Brahmin scholars either to talk with Thakur or to find out about that Pandit's scholarship. And a devotee who followed the tantric method of worship. Why Ishan invited him? Because tantricism is different from Vedic. And tantras have their own rituals. And so, how he feels, how he acts or counteracts, that must be Ishan's motive. So he had invited a tantric scholar also. Shirish and Ishan's other sons were also present. Master Masha is not mentioning Satish. Shirish is perhaps the elder son, and he was Master Masha's classmate. Satish was Swami Vivekananda's classmate. So he mentions Shirish. And Ishan's other sons. He does not name them. He knows because he is his classmate. Were also present. They were present because Master was invited. the master noticed that the tantric worshipper had a vermilion mark on his forehead and smilingly said, I see, he is branded. You understand branded? That he belongs to the tantric sect is clear from the marks also. That is the brand. After a while, M and Narendra arrived. So it has happened before M has arrived. So he must have heard it from Shirish. M and Narendra arrived on board before Sri Ramakrishna. The master had previously informed him that he would be at Ishan's house. And Naren was with him, the very cause of this meeting. So they came together. The master joked about the delay in serving their meal. In Bengali, some things are skipped as usual. Huh? So, that was the incident. It was a famous incident, not mentioned in English. Because for Kirtan, the pakhwaj is used, a percussion instrument. And on one side of the pakhwaj, they put paste maida. Now, maida is preparation for luchis. So when they brought maida for pakhwaj, Thakur said, oh, ekhano maida. Even now there is maida. That means when the luchis will be made, that is the mention. So in English, it has shortcut. The essence is mentioned. The master joked about the delay in serving their meal. One of the scholars quoted a master joked. One of the scholars, they are scholars. So they know many things. One of the scholars quoted a Sanskrit verse about the anxiety created in people's minds by the pangs of hunger. That was not Master's case. Master joked about it, but the Pandit took that opportunity to show his scholarship. Shlok is not mentioned in Bengali also. The meaning of the shlok. One of the scholars, proceeding to explain the verse, so after quoting, he explained it. He said, the study of philosophy is indeed edifying, but poetry is more fascinating than philosophy. People listening to good poems think of the study of philosophy, Vedanta, Nyaya, Sankhya, and so forth, as dry and insipid. Again, music is more attractive than poetry. Music melts even a heart of stone. But a beautiful woman has an even greater attraction for a man's heart than music. Such a woman passing by diverts a man's attention from both poetry and music. But when a man feels the pangs of hunger, everything else, poetry, music, and women, appear as of no consequence. Thus, hunger is the most arresting thing. So that is what is quoted. The master remarked with a smile, the Pandit is witty. That is, in Bengali, it is Rasik, one who could enjoy jokes. That is the Rasik. So witty, all right. Soon, Master Maharaj has mentioned this because Sri Ramakrishna has reacted on that. The master, soon Narendra began to sing. A few moments later, the master went upstairs for a little rest. Narendra is singing on the lower grade. M and Shirish accompanied him. M introduced Shirish to the master, saying, he is a scholar and a man of peaceful nature. We were fellow students in our boyhood. Now he is a lawyer. Master, it is a pity that such a man should practice law. That means within those few minutes, Thakur has judged Shirish's character. And Master Maharaj also has said that he has a peaceful nature. So, law, you have to argue. And many times, you have to prove by arguments the false thing to be right and the right thing to be false. This is well known to Thakur. And, you know, in the worldly sense, Thakur's father, he was a born votary of truth, absolute truth. And the zamindar, the landlord of that village where he was staying, Teregraph, became angry on somebody and filed a case against him. That is what the landlords used to do. And he wanted Khudiram, Thakur's father, to give false evidence because the whole world knew very well that he is a man of truth. See the irony. And if he speaks something, people will accept it immediately. That was his intention. And Khudiram, being a strict votary of truth, he refused. Then he filed a false suit on Khudiram and found witnesses to testify falsely against him and won the case and took away everything belonging to Khudiram. And that is why Khudiram had to shift from Tere to Kamar. So Thakur knows all these things. Now we say law is impartial. But the court depends upon the witnesses and the lawyers. So very few are there who fight for justice in the court. I am reminded of somebody in Maharashtra. His parlor was on the floor, first floor. And somebody from below, somebody announces so and so wants to meet you. He would ask from there, is your case correct? Otherwise, don't come to me. And a fellow said, yes, it is correct. And when he went up and that lawyer found that it is not correct, he pushed him down the stairs. Such people are also out there. But they are to be counted on the fingers of the hand. So Thakur knows this and he says, it is a pity that such a man should practice law. And Master Maharaj told something in corroboration with that. Yes, sir, it was a mistake on his part straight away. Master, I know a few lawyers. One of them shows me great respect. The name and etc. are dropped in English. He is a straightforward man. So, few straightforward are there. He is there. And he shows great respect to Thakur, to Shirish. So now, the only talk which Thakur liked, and he liked people to talk, whether he is a lawyer at this and that is secondary. Whether he loves God or not, that is the only question in Thakur's mind. And only teaching. Throughout the gospel, we are seeing this. So he first of all wants to find out what is Shirish's thinking on that matter. So he asked Shirish, what is your idea about the most essential thing in life? So he's a lawyer and all that is different. But most essential thing in life, what is your idea? Fundamental question. Shirish. No, he was the son of Ishan and he was a modern man, a mixture. So he says, God exists. He is not an atheist like modern man. And he alone does everything. That is a very great thing, which tallies with Thakur's thoughts. You understand? He does everything. Means I do not do anything. You do not do anything. Karta is only God. And throughout the gospel, hundreds of times we have seen, Thakur says that one who has realized this is Jivan-Mukta. Now, Shirish is telling from his conviction, not from experience. So he adds modernism. But the attributes we ascribe to him are not the right ones. We means human beings. Human beings applying any attribute to God in English, it is called anthropomorphism. From the limited human mind, you are thinking of God. So they are not correct. So this much Vishleshan he knows. How can a man conceive of him? His nature is infinite. This was Naren's idea also. Master, now Thakur says, if he exists and if he is the doer, then what is the main point? You love him. Why you think of the attributes at all? So that is Thakur's approach. That theoretically, we may think God is like that, hundreds of things. But will that help you in loving him? And throughout the gospel we find the only thing Thakur talks about either realization of God or loving God. And so it is clear that in Thakur's opinion, real opinion, the only way to realize God is to love him. Attributes, non-attributes, and especially because he knows God is the doer, I am not the doer, then what should I do? I should love God. So Thakur corrects Shirish, and that is why he had asked the question. Whatever is correct, whatever is missing, Thakur will apply. Master, what need is there of your counting the number of trees and branches in an orchard? You have come to the orchard to eat mangoes. Now, Thakur has given this simile many, many times. Why? And Thakur lived near Manik Raja's Amrakan. So he knows that mango is the main fruit. Sweet mango. Do that and be happy. The aim of human birth is to love God. We have got this sentence more than 100 times by now. Realize that love and be at peace. Realize that love. That means you just cannot think and love God. You have to experience that love. So that may require rituals or this or that or scriptures or whatever it is. But the aim is loving God. So realize that because it is the aim. And that will make you happy. You will realize God automatically if you love God. So you may say the first aim in life is love God. And sadhana has to be done to realize that and be at peace. So be at peace means you don't think of the other thing, attributes and all that. Suppose you have entered a tavern for a drink. So another simile, is it necessary for you to know how many gallons of wine there are in the tavern? Because Shirish has talked about infinitude of God. So how many are there? Why are you concerned? One glass is enough for you to intoxicate you. What need is there of your knowing the infinite qualities of God? You may discriminate for millions of years about God's attributes and still you will not know them. Endless. And we know in Thakur's case, when he went to a Shiv temple and was chanting the Mahimna Stotra, there is a stanza there that your qualities are infinite. And Thakur realized that instantly and started weeping and saying, how can I describe you? Your qualities are infinite. So that infinitude of God also has to be felt and realized. The master remained silent a few minutes. Automatically that brings silence in Thakur. A Brahmin Pandit came into the room. Master to him, there is no substance whatever in the worldly life. Master Masha is an householder. And Thakur wants him to realize no substance. Now Ishan's example is there. So Thakur says the members of Ishan's family are good. So he has some peace here. Suppose his sons had been lewd. Lewd means extra sex appeal. Disobedient and addicted to drink and other vices. Then there would have been no end to his troubles. One very seldom comes across such a religious family in which all the members are devoted to God. I have seen only 2 or 3 such families. We know Balram's family, maybe Ishan's. Generally, one finds quarrels, misunderstanding, jealousy, and friction. Generally. Besides, there are disease, grief, and poverty in the world. Seeing this condition, I prayed to the Divine Mother, O Mother, turn my mind at once from the world to God. In the 13th chapter of the Gita, there are certain mental qualities mentioned as knowledge, though Shankar says auxiliary to knowledge. But Bhagavan has said these are knowledge, others are ignorance. And in that, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Finding fault with this life, because birth is pain, death is pain, old age is pain, diseases in the body are pain, the miseries in the mind are pain. So these are the doshas of the present life, and this one should be constantly thinking or aware of. Then it is counted as one of the factors of knowledge or activity. Now the point comes that will this thought not make men pessimist, cynic? And the reply is, if you have no love for God, then what you are saying you have. But if you have love for God, these are great helps to think of God. Swami Pitambarananda described the Lord Buddha in Gwalior, that he came to a point, psychological point, that there is nothing on this side. Now he does not know what is on the other side. But if there is anything worthwhile, it is on the other side. So this hero, Swamiji says, dared and went across. So nothing on this side. I will tell you a story from the Marathi history of that one. Great story. Shivaji had a faithful lieutenant, and Shivaji's mother told him to conquer that particular fort, which was very difficult to conquer. So Shivaji decided, I will assign this fort to Tanaji. And Tanaji is coming to Shivaji to invite him for his son's marriage. So seeing him, Shivaji says, no, I will not assign you. Then she said, no, no, tell me what you have in mind. So I will make like this. Okay, my son's marriage will wait, I will go first. So what he did, they have an animal like what is it? Like lizard, but it is a very strong animal. And they tie some rope to its tail. And leave it, it goes up and up and up, and pulls the rock with great force. And several such animals. Then with those ropes, they climb in the night and surprise attack. That is their method. So Tanaji, and in his battalion, one of the main fighters was his elder brother Suryaji. And his maternal uncle was a great fighter. So they climbed. And when the victory was almost near, Tanaji got wounded and was about to die. Then the Mama was telling, come, the victory is very near. But most of the soldiers started running back when the leader is lost. They would climb down with the same ropes. Suryaji, the elder brother, ran faster than them, and with the strokes of his sword cut away all the ropes. Now go where you want, die or fight. And that is how they fought and won the war. So nothing on the back side, then forward. That is the idea. Now, His condemnation of the householder's life has pained one scholar. And they are scholars. A Brahmin Pandit came into the room. He has told this. And he is quoting something more. Look at Narendra's troubles. His father is dead, and the members of his family are starving. He has been trying his utmost to secure a position, but he has not yet found one. Just see how unsettled his mind is. Narendra, he was a staunchest sadhak, but even his mind has become unsettled because he has to struggle. And this is providence that a brilliant graduate of Calcutta University is not finding a job. To him, you used to come to Dakshineshwar very frequently, but why have you become such a rare visitor? Why should I blame you? The influence of woman and gold is everywhere. Therefore I pray, O Divine Mother, please don't make me a worldly man if I am to be born again in a human body. So what we learn, don't make me a worldly man, even if I am born again. At this point, the Brahmin Pandit is disturbed. Brahmin scholar, why should you say that, sir? The scriptures extol the life of a householder. So householder is the mainstay of the society, main earner, to supply the poor people, to supply sannyasis and all that. So the scriptures extol householders. Master, yes, that is true. But it is very difficult to lead the true life of a household. Because in Thakur's mind, the aim is to realize God. And from that point only judging. So true life of a household. What is the true life of a householder? Swami Pitambarananda is described from Mahanirvana Tantra in Karma Yoga, that the main aim of householder should be to realize God. But he must earn them. And at this point, Thakur breaks the conversation. Narendra is singing and Thakur has went upstairs. To him, how wrong of us, they are singing, especially Narendra, and we have left the room. So this morning conversation is up to this point. You have to imagine Thakur came down and then he had meals. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the master left in a carriage for the house where Pandit Shashadhar was staying. It is a short distance, but he went in a carriage. And so Master Masha is explaining, as soon as Sri Ramakrishna got into the carriage, he went into Samadhi. So that is Thakur's nature. Anything would send him into Samadhi. And he's thinking of visiting a scholar. So the purpose of life comes in his mind and he goes into Samadhi. His physical frame was very tender as a result of the austerities he had undergone during the long years of his spiritual discipline and his constant absorption in God consciousness after his success also. Now, this is a great lesson again when we are thinking of an avatar. Thakur had very healthy body in his boy. Today we saw his images here and there. He had a stout body, very healthy body. But forgetting everything for the sake of God, he plunged into austerities, unheard of, unimagined, unthought of anywhere in the scriptures of the world. Unique, I would say. We have not heard anybody in the world undertaking that type of sadhanas with austerities as Thakur did. And then afterwards, he is not caring for the body because he is remaining in the ecstatic modes. So that has made Thakur's body tender and weak. Now there are some people, the followers of Yoga Marga, and they say body should be made strong first and body should always remain strong. In Thakur's calculation, that is only for the beginner. When you get the strong urge, who cares for the body? Swami Vivekananda, in his Rajoga, said that if you have weak physique and if you practice Rajoga, you will either die or your brain will go out. Reading this, a young man came and asked, I don't think I am very strong. Can I practice Rajoga? Swamiji says, yes. They said, but you have said so. Swamiji said, what of that? Suppose you die, what is that? Practicing yoga is important. So as a fact, he has told that. And the meaning is that don't spoil your health. This is what the people talk. His physical frame was very tender. As a result, we have read that the master would suffer from the slightest physical discomfort and even from the vibration of worldly thoughts around him. That is another thing. The man with superabundance of sattva does get disturbed when a rajasic, tamasic vibrations are around him. So that also is there. Once Keshav Chandra Sen had said, Keshav Chandra could appreciate a lot and was, what we say, used to describe the good things he met with his life. That is his glory. And that is how through him most of the Bengal came to Nayapta. So he says, had said that Sri Ramakrishna, Christ and Sri Chaitanya belong to a delicate species of humanity and should be kept in a glass case and protected from the vulgar contact of the world. So Master has quoted Keshav here because he appreciated Thakur, though he could not take Thakur fully. It was the rainy season and a fine drizzle of rain had made the roads muddy. The sky was overcast. The devotees followed the carriage on foot. So the carriage was moving leisurely. As the carriage stopped in front of the house, the host and his relatives welcomed the master and took him upstairs to the drawing room. There the master met the Pandit. So this is the introduction. Pandit Shashadhar, a man of fair complexion. Now this is Master Masha's description of Shashadhar. And no longer young, that is crossed the range, had a string of Rudraksha beads around his neck. He was one of the renowned Sanskrit scholars of his time, a pillar of Orthodox Hinduism, which had reasserted itself after the first wave of Christianity and Western culture had passed over Hindu society. This was started by Thakur himself, the counter wave. His clear exposition of the Hindu scripture, his ringing sincerity, and his sterling eloquence had brought back a large number of the educated young Hindus of Bengal to the religion of their forefathers. The Pandit saluted the master with reverence. Narendra, Rakhal, Ram, Agra, and M, who had come with the master, Agra had come with the master, and Rakhal, Ram also are mentioned. Seated themselves in the room, Agra and M, and near the master as they could, anxious not to miss one of his words. So, Thakur may sometimes speak very slowly, inaudible. They want to sit as near so that not to miss every word. The Pandit saluted the master with reverence. At the sight of the Pandit, the master again went into samadhi. That is, he went into higher planes of consciousness to judge the Pandit from that point of view. Automatically. At the sight of the Pandit, the master again went into samadhi. After a while, still remaining in that state, he looked at the Pandit and said with a smile, very well, very well. Because what we are doing is all right. Then addressing the Pandit, the master said, tell me how you would give lecture. So that is the main point now. Master, for the Kali, no, sir, I tried to explain the teachings of the Hindu scriptures. By the Hindu scriptures, he means the Vedas. This much from him, and Thakur starts his own talking for maybe hours together. So from this sentence and by his yogic vision, he has understood what the Pandit does. And as we already discussed, from Swami Vivekananda, Thakur has known that through physical sciences he explained the Hindu scripture, especially the ritualistic part. So, Master, for the Kali Yuga, the path of devotion described by Narada is best. Kali Yuga means the values are lost, number one. Number two, man has mentally become so weak that he depends upon food. So that is Kali Yuga. And so, what is the path? Devotion prescribed by Narada. Now we already discussed this is not Narada Bhakti Sutra, it is Narada Pancharatra. Thakur himself has said, dancing, clapping. Now why? Comparative. Where can people find time now, Kali Yuga, to perform their duties according to the scriptural injunction? I will tell you a funny thing. In Rishikesh, near our Kutia, there is that Vivekananda. And in their annual function, they invite all the sadhus of Rishikesh. Now, the important from learning Vedanta point of view is Kailasha. So, two sadhus came from Kailasha. And they were telling the audience to practice the Vedic Karma Kanda. I was stunned. That means you have to talk and they have to listen. Is it possible to do Vedic Karma Kanda now? Thakur is outright rejecting that idea. So it is funny thing. Orthodoxy leads to such condemnable behavior. I said in my talk there, it is a habit that we lecture from pulpit and you hear. That is our relation. But we forget we are sadhakas and you are also sadhakas. From that point only we should talk. Shall I tell one more thing? The approximate following Vedic yajnas is I found in Tamil Nadu. And what they do? Kanda, you know, that gobri, and the cow dung cake, they use as fuel. And smoke is coming like anything, and they are putting ahuti there. While the Vedas take, when the fire is blazing with tongues, it even named the tongue, Kali, Karali, Jamano, then only the ahuti should be put. One of Mahapuruji's disciples, an householder, fell sick when he was 93 years of age. And he said plaintively, why should I fall sick? I have lived a Vedic life, so I should live for 100 years. I said, Anna, it is not possible to live the Vedic life now. So approximately you have done that. He recovered. He passed away when his age was 96. Now Thakur has several examples and similes for that. Huh? Nowadays, the decoctions of roots and herbs of the orthodox Hindu physicians, Ayurvedic, cannot be given to a fever patient. So, that is another unique feature of Thakur. He was the orthodox of the orthodox, and yet he was modern with the moderns. The things which change have to be changed. There is a difference between old and eternal. Eternal is God. Eternal is that which does not change. And old is that which, as Swami Vivekananda said, rusts or rots. So how can you stick to the old? I remember one discussion in our culture institute. The Vice Chancellor of Nagpur University said, now the old values are gone. Boys do not respect us. He had come in a dhoti in a big meeting. I said, in olden people, Buddha's father is pictured as putting only a copy. How can we maintain the old thing? Buddha's father has a pagdi, but below only a copy. You know who taught us wearing stitch cloth? Huh? Chinese. Chinese. This has come to India from Chinese. My all knowledge is from Swamiji's computer. I do not go here and there. There Swamiji has this. Because the Orthodox sannyasis do not use any stitch cloth like this. They criticize us even for using this stitch cloth. By the time that kind of medicine begins its slow process of curing, the patient is done for. Therefore, only a drastic medicine like the allopathic fever mixture is effective now. You may ask people to practice scriptural rites and rituals. He started talking to Sheshadar. But when prescribing the rituals, remove the head and tail. Now, this first time I am understanding because a footnote in English. This expression is always there. Laja Mundu Bhatti. Now, I used to think if the head and tail is removed, what has remained? But in this footnote, it is mentioned, it is talk about eating a fish. And the tail of fish is nothing. Now, head of the fish sometimes is special, but to eat it is very difficult. So that is the meaning. Fish, as we call PTP, is to be eaten from the central portion. So that is what Thakur says. Give up the useless or details and take it in the spirit. Do so only? No. You may ask people to practice scriptural rites and rituals, but when prescribing the rituals, remove the head and tail. I tell people not to bother about the elaborate rituals of the Sandhya as enjoined by the scriptures. I say that it will be enough for them to repeat the Gayatri alone. What is Sandhya? Sandhya Vandana. Something to be practiced at the Sandhya time. And if you cannot concentrate on Gayatri, the heart of Sandhya is Gayatri. But if you cannot concentrate on that, they have built up a big ritual so that your mind becomes concentrated and you chant Gayatri. So Thakur said, stick to that Gayatri. Essential part. If you must give instructions about scriptural ceremonies, do so only to a very few like Ishan. Because Ishan follows them in good spirit. And he has the means to do so. So don't teach it to everybody, tell it to Ishan, to a few. Okay, we have crossed the time limit. Oh, Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiredhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadasatam Bhui Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Carried away. 5 minutes.